do the whole Daily Mail pay you every week? Because at least you're giving them content.
Right, anyway, we're moving on now because Schoey has come up with his 10-point response to Adam Pearson. And I have to say, I agree with every point you've made, and I think
it's a bit worrying.
We did discuss this live on the show last week, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to look at the answers. You've made the point that they've signed no top players and have chosen to retain players they should have cut. Explain.
Well, I think I explained it last week, but also, I just want to talk about the cheerleader here, and this cheerleader...
Well, that's what I want, because I want you to explain your comments, and then Paul Clark, who writes for the Old Daily Mail, has come back with his answers.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to read out here, then I'm going to tell him what my answer... If he hasn't read... Well, he's read it there anyway, so this is the cheerleader. You know, like Brian Carney said in his podcast a few weeks ago, too many cheerleaders. Well, Paul Clark from the Whole Daily Mail obviously is there. Right,
he's a very nice young man, actually.
He's very much a cheer. I couldn't care less as we know. I'm a nice bloke as well, by all accounts. So the first was...
Hold on,
it's
that?
okay for Hull haven't signed anyone decent because Cass haven't as well. Well, as I've been told as well, Cass finished 19 points ahead of Hull last season. So there you go, cheerleader, Mr. Clark. So anyway, so he has a bit of a pop.
Did we though not say last week that we thought Cass, because of their recruitment, may well struggle?
May not make the top five, absolutely. So, and the way that this Casper squad is Hull better than that. So anyway, so the few points here he's pointing out. He said that Shaw hasn't gone backwards. Well, there is the explanation.
Well, because I'll read it out, because people might not have read it. Fullback Jamie Shaw hasn't progressed in the way Hull fans were hoping he would 18 months ago. He's way down the pecking order for an England jumper now. He's a decent fullback, but nothing more. I hope we see the Shaw of old again.
I like to see that, yeah, because I think with the situation with Shaw is, at times he gets in the comfort zone because there's no pressure on him week in and week out. There's no pressure on him that there's a fullback knocking on the door. If he doesn't perform to the standard...
Does Jamie Shaw create enough for Hull? I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't play like a fullback.
He does out of dummy half because of his speed.
Yeah, but he's not a Zach Hardy.
And he doesn't link it to the line
and he's not a Lomax, he's not a Tompkins. And when you talk about with the fullbacks, he's way behind Tompkins, he's way behind Lomax, he's even way behind Ratsford, who's not good enough international fullback for me. So
yeah, but he's very good for Warrington.
Oh, yeah, he's very good for Warrington.
Jack Walker?
No, I wouldn't say that so far. So anyway, so there's with Jamie Shaw. His consistency in performance from there, and he doesn't perform to the highest of the week because there's no pressure on him. Joe Westerman, well, they sold Joe to Warrington for whatever reasons, financial maybe from there, but Westerman, 6 games last season. I wasn't talking about Joe Westerman for the...
Well, what you've said is too many of the forwards are bang average. New contracts have been handed to players in the pack who haven't really earned them. Liam Watson, Gareth Ellis simply haven't been replaced. Nobody in the pack is anywhere near their standard. Joe Westerman had loads of potential once, but it hasn't been realised he needs to stand up.
Absolutely, yeah, and now he's getting a second chance back at the Black and Whites. And his full, when he was at Casper, he had all that full potential. I thought he was going to go again, make it an international player, knocking on the door with Sean Locker as a loose forward. Did it happen? At Warrington again, it was the consistency of his performances. Why did Warrington let him go? Because he wasn't there week in and week out. Went to Toronto, and now he's got his second chance at the Black and Whites. Hopefully, if Joe does realise that potential and get that consistency week in and week out, he will be an asset. But when you look at the other forwards...
Well, to go back to your point,
yeah.
Gareth Ellis is left, best forward.
Yeah.
Liam Watts is left, they're best forward. So the best two forwards have left. They haven't been replaced. Everyone will say, well, Scott Taylor's great. Scott Taylor is great. No one's denying
Scott
that.
Taylor's consistent.
But one man does not make a pack. And as we've seen at Leeds, with the best one in the world, Ablett and JJB are very good players. They are not the players they were 2 years ago. They'd be the first to tell you that. Okay. And Father Time catches up with players like Minicello, like Sikamanu, who are both very good players, but they're not as prominent as they were 2 years ago.
Minicello and Sikamanu, like, with Danny Washbrook, they pass the sell-by date now, and week in and week out, they're not going to
They have a role to play in a squad, of course they do, but they are not the go-to men that they once were, are they? I think that's the point.
Absolutely. And when you look at the top 5 sides, or even 6 sides, Hull aren't going to be there. And then I go with Mane for Noah. He said, well, Farrimore has replaced for Noah and done well. He's been average, to be honest with you. And also, too, he didn't realistically, because he must be Danny Outman's best mate. And all rejects any critics of Outman, but didn't even address the Jez Litton point. Well, Jez Litton needs to be on the bench because they need that spark. And say with Danny Outman, listen, we all know what Danny Outman brings to Hull. We know what he brings from there. He'll play for the full 80 minutes. He'll make 5,000 tackles every game. He'll try and make some behind, but they need more variation from there. And another point is the style of play. What style of play are Hull going to do? Because they're boring and boring. If they don't change that style of play, they're good at.
Well, they used to
they're easy
refer
to-
to them as dull FC because they were terrible.
But they're
to
easy
watch.
to play against, and the opposition know how to play against them. You know, so and even on the social media today, the Hull fans, the majority of them are agreeing. Hey, listen, whether I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up. But one thing for sure, this moment in time, I won't be wrong. And now the pressure is on for the first game of the season. They play the Red and Whites. It's going to be absolutely buzzing at the Red and Whites ground. The pressure is on from game one because let's not forget, they got absolutely hammered in the 11 games last season, what they're on an unbeaten run. They got hammered by Wakefield. They got hammered by Warrington, embarrassed by Warrington from there. We've had the chairman himself, Mr. Pearson, saying he was going to sack players, he was going to get rid of players, the attitude's no good, they're not good enough. He hasn't done that, and I'm only doing this with a response.
By Hull KR at home, and Hull KR had basically the best 6 players won't play. If memory serves right, they had a boatload missing. Everyone thought, oh, they'll get battered. They went and won.
I think that the issue is the one you've picked up on. Everybody can have an opinion about whether a player's going to be good or not next year, whether the squad's going to be deeper or they're going to go with a different style of play. But I think you hold people to account by what they say. And after that Warrington game, the statement by Adam Pearson was nobody's contract is safe. We are going to reserve the right to even get rid of people who we've re-engaged, but you will see a different set of names here.
Yeah.
And that has not happened.
No, well, as one of our erstwhile media colleagues said, Adam Pearson promised the world and delivered an atlas. He's not delivered what he said, and we've mentioned this. You know, we've mentioned it, and you know, we're lucky in the media. We get access to people, and we speak to people behind the scenes, and the message that was coming out behind the scenes is not the message that's being played out in public now. And that, you know, and I go back. I mean, I'm just reading Paul's column in the Hull Daily Mail. He says the question is, does Schofield's criticism carry any merit? He makes some valid points, controversial columnists usually do, but the vast majority of it is wayward. I would like to see which of those comments are wayward, and you know the odds will reflect where Hull are likely to finish.
But the whole Daily Mail love this. This is ready-made content.
Well, they love it because
it
it's cheap content for themselves. But it comes again. Can Paul, in his role, come out and criticise?
Well, he won't because he was a cheerleader. That's why he won't.
He will have a working relationship with people at Hull, and at the moment, the best copy he can write is in response to whatever you say. So,
but as I've said,
they want to keep this
as I've said on
all
social
through
media,
the pre-season.
Yeah, rugby league craves media attention, right? And when they get it, and it's slightly negative, they don't know how to deal with it. Teams do not know how to deal with it. They don't want it. Can you imagine? And Hull's one of their biggest fans, Adrian Durham on Talk Sport. What he would have been saying if rugby league was a mainstream sport, what he would have been saying about Hull FC last year. He'd been clamouring for Pearson to go, Radford to go, the players to be shipped out because they're not good enough. But yet, when someone actually asks it, a la Garry, people don't like it.
But that's an analysis. That's not just an opinion. This is why you believe that there are deficiencies in the whole squad. You haven't just said, "Oh, they're going to be rubbish next year," and left it at that. It's not shock jock treatment. There's 10, 12 very good points as to why you think they're going to struggle. That's
they might not do,
reasonable.
and then you look a clown. But
fair
you're
play to you.
You're prepared to say that and stick with it.
Which is what happened with London.
Absolutely.
But this is what I was saying last week on Twitter where Schoey got a lot of criticism. I can't remember what it was about. Could have been anything. There aren't enough people in our sport who say anything. Whether bland and the blander. It's all right, you know, you watch Sky, you watch the Super League show, you watch whatever other media there is out there. No one's got an opinion. No one says anything. All these ex-players, recently retired ex-players or current players, aren't going to say anything that criticise their mates. So there's no point in them being on TV or radio. It's
as an audience at whole, what do you want? Do you want people that just talk in riddles, or do you want people that come out and tell you what it is? Gary Neville and Carragher have done well on the football because they say that's not good enough. You can't do that. That's not good enough. You can't do that. They point out when it's good and when it's bad.
I'll mention a name. It's one of, well, before Schoey as a contemporary, but he was coaching in the early 90s and still playing in the 80s. Graham Souness. You love him going on the telly because he doesn't care what he says because he's got the back class, if you will. We're talking about a horse, aren't we?
Yeah.
He's got the form to say, well, this is what I think because I did this, this, and this.
But when
There's
I
loads of people who-
The Manchester United midfielder, Nottingham Forest.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane.
Yeah.
I'd watch Roy Keane all day, every day as a panellist.
Well, when I watch Super
I don't
Sports,
think I
and
want
I
to play
say,
under him, but
when you mentioned Graham Souness saying Garry Neville and certainly Roy Keane, you know, sensational. And also too, like the cricket guys, they're brilliant. You know, even the rugby union fellas as well. You know, but I just don't understand it from a point of view in our game. And I'm the only one who, like I said there, I'm the pantomime king. Everybody blame me for being the pantomime king for what I say, but and I'll say it again. And I'm sick of saying it. I only give an opinion on what I say. I don't make things up, and I give a reason why I'm saying it. And if people don't like the open honesty, well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to change. No way, mate, because I'm entitled to an opinion. I think I could play the game a little bit. I think I play with some great players. Well, I know I play with some great players. I've had some great coaches, and I've had some rubbish coaches. But at the end of the day, I'm entitled to my opinion.
Finish. Do you think they're going to be in the bottom half of the table? I think you need to lay down an ultimatum to Adam Pearson and say, right, talking's done now, right? I've said you're going to be, whatever, bottom half.
Ninth.
Right, well, you say bottom half, he thinks they're going to be in the top half. There should be some kind of charity thing or for whatever, right? And you say to Pearson, put up or shut up, right? Your team finishes in the top half, I'll apologise I got it wrong, and we'll do X, Y, and Z. If they're in the bottom half, you can apologise to me, and then do it like that. Let's see what he says. Let's put it out there. Adam Pearson, if you finish in the bottom half of the table, then you have to publicly apologise to Schoey. How does that sound? And if you finish in the top half, Schoey will come out and apologise to you.
He'll wear his dressing gown.
He'll wear his dressing gown in your new bar and get rid of any problem.
But also as well, you said about apologise. I mean, it's not me to apologise to. It's the fans, because most of the fans, I'll tell you, most of the fans, what I've been told on social media today, certainly most of them agree, because they're not stupid. The whole fans are not stupid.
They're not. Let's be fair, the whole support, is it 7,000 memberships? It's brilliant, fantastic. No one's denying Hull are not a great supporting club. We've never ever said that. Yeah? Interesting where those 7,000 were at the end of last season when you were getting hammered every week, but they still pay the money, so if they don't want to go, they don't have to go, do they? But that's the point. So there you go, Mr. Pearson. If you finish bottom half, we expect an apology for the legend. And if you finish in the top half, then we won't sack him because we can't do that.
That assume we're paying him first.
Yeah.
Speaking of things from the past.
Maybe a bath of custard, something like that.
Yeah. You know, if you don't like it, there's plenty of other rugby league podcasts out. There's loads of them these days. They're everywhere, the buggers. But you know, we're still 379th in Germany.
Mark,
so,
I just want to finish on this. Just the last few lines from the column I've just said, because just quite back in June, unthinkable. Back in June, where they were running fifth in the competition because of so bad. But then after they got knocked out of the Challenge Cup, and even now I've noticed a few people connected to the club still blaming their 2018 wars on injuries alone, and I'm quite simply finished. They've got to get their heads out of the sand, because if they don't, they're going to have a long, hard season.
And they're not going to Australia this year.
And again, interesting point here from Paul. He said, as for cutting players, there isn't a single top earner at the club who deserves that. Well, some of them have had poor form or injury issues. There are multiple examples in the last couple of years pointing to why they should stay. Didn't see Alex Ferguson when his team were winning the league going, it's all right, lads, no problem. We all won the league. We'll see you next year. What did he do? Goes and buys more players, better players. You stand still, you're going backwards, Paul, and I think that's what Hull FC are doing. I think secretly, if we were to speak to you, I think you'd agree with that as well.
Well, it's not just Hull, is it? As we said about Castleford, they don't appear to be moving forward.
I think the difference for Castleford is that they have had to upgrade the contracts of some talented younger players or players who they've bought on to the extent now that they're playing at an international level. And under a salary cap sport, every so often you don't spend a lot of money because you
balance the books.
And at least I think Castleford can say we were in a semi-final last year and we've got the experience of being a club that is moving forward. We've got a core of players now that are of a higher level of when we bought them, and there is a price that you pay for that. I'm not sure you can say that with Hull.
No,
I think on the back of 11 straight defeats, and it shouldn't be forgotten, 2 of those were record defeats. This wasn't a team that suddenly had brought in a load of youngsters.
I'll say what I said last week, Phil. For a Super
There
League
were
team
enough
paying salary
players
cap to concede
playing-
80 points
and
is a
some
disgrace.
of that salary cap was on the sideline, as it is with every club. But there were enough people who took the field in both of those games to have not conceded a record defeat. That's the worry.
As I said at the time, if you lose 32-6 because you've got no creativity on the field, I think as a fan, you can learn.
Your
You
kids
can
run
live
out
with that.
of energy.
Yeah, you can live with that, but to concede 80 points is
Yeah.
pathetic.
I've never seen a worse performance. And think of all those games I've seen now at Belgium.
Well, I'll tell you what, when they played Wakefield, to be honest with you, I never saw the Wakefield game, I saw the Warrington on TV, but I reckon the Wakefield game was even worse. Big for feet, for the first try, big for feet.
You went halfway.
He went 50 yards and literally everybody would just, well, I don't want to tackle him. I don't. Well, what sort of attitude was that? You know what I'm saying from there? And, so.
Yeah, but that's what.
No,
Obviously,
anyway.
Albert Kelly saw Dave for Feet and thought that's the model I'm going to copy myself on next year. To get away with that one, I don't know.